everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're here for another edition of book reviews. You're joining me in Chittorgarh, India. We're looking at the Chittorgarh fort behind us. Really beautiful fort that we looked at today. Biggest fort in India actually. Anyway, today we're here for another edition of book reviews, and we're going to review a book that has an author that I've heard referred to so many times throughout the past 10-ish years with such a mystical, alluring air around him, and I never knew necessarily what he did. I thought he was actually more of a designer, and I haven't researched, maybe he also is a designer, but I didn't realize how prolific of a writer he is until I read this book and have gone around and looked for some more books by him. It's crazy, and I have to say I can completely understand now why there is this beautiful, almost fanatic, cult-like following that he has, because Haruki Murakami, often just called Murakami, I have to say is a masterful, exceptional novelist. And the book we're going to review today is his book called Sputnik, Sweetheart. Such a nice novel, only about 200 pages, and for me, I would say that this book, reading it, really felt like I was just taking a nice walk on a cool day around a beautiful park surrounded by flowers, and every once in a while sitting down next to a person having a beautiful conversation and continuing my walk. It was easy to read, but so intimate and so deep and so moving at the same time. And I think that you don't always find authors that have that beautiful balance of casual simplicity with this really hard-hitting majesty, I would almost say. Really beautiful. This book has a really interesting dynamic that it tries to cover. I'm not going to so much go into the characters or anything, but I'm going to go into my interpretation of what I kind of think he might be trying to represent. It almost felt to me that there was this sort of split in the world, and split in the universe, and split in reality going on, that's like we become conditioned, I will say, by our lives, and I'll even go as far as to say traumatized occasionally. And when we have these traumatizing events in their life, they fraction us into different parts of ourselves. And where do these parts of ourselves go that are pure and, able to be fully alive? Where do these parts of us go when we build up these walls to keep other parts of us safe, to keep our ego safe, or to keep the child in us safe? Where do these other pieces of us go that get broken off, that get traumatized? And there's this really interesting dialogue that happens between these three sort of main characters who all have different kind of sort of traumatizing events in one way or another, and it's about the person that they've become because of those events, and also about being dramatically aware about what has gone missing since those events. And it's this really beautiful play on character analysis, because we all do this, I feel like, at some point in our life, whether it's really extreme and you have these moving, inner dialogues that push you to really think about who you are and why you're that way and where you'll go if you continue down this path and all of this. I think to some degree we all have this idea of like, thinking about who we are and why. And this book studies it in such a beautiful way, I feel like. There's a lot in this book about the dynamics of passion, lust, and love, youth and angst, and the way that those are played into it is also very beautiful. One thing that would have been really cool is if there was a bit more age perspective in this book. Most of the perspective is pretty youthful, which keeps the book fun and light and almost comedic. But I felt like it could also have been really interesting if there was a wiser perspective also given. But maybe that wasn't the point, and I'm sure that Murakami knew what he was doing when he was writing it, because when you read this book, it feels so beautifully laid out, so perfectly laid out. So I really enjoyed it. I would give it a 10 out of 10, honestly, for my first Murakami novel. Like I said, 200 pages, easy read, but you'll find yourself reading a lot and then realizing that you're reading so much heavy-hitting, beautiful writing. such a poetic writer too, I have to say. There's so many beautiful metaphors that he uses, and I think that, like I've said in many other reviews, I think an author's ability to convey meaning through metaphor and to be able to give the reader some kind of image to interpret, to decipher the meaning, I think is such a trademark of a beautiful, beautiful writer. One of the biggest ones I've said has this dynamic to it. One of the biggest books I've said has that dynamic to it is The Picture of Dorian Gray. Another really one-liner, these beautiful metaphors packed with density, packed with meaning. So anyway, I found now that Murakami has countless novels. Like, I think over, I'm gonna just say 10, but I think many more than that. So I'm definitely excited to check out some more. I also learned that the book Kafka on the Shore is by Murakami. I always thought Kafka on the Shore was by Franz Kafka, who is the writer of The Man's Search for Meaning, I believe, maybe Metamorphosis. Anyway, I didn't know that Murakami had wrote that book. So I found that book at a store recently, and it's quite a thick one. I'm really excited to read Kafka on the Shore after reading this one. So I think that's going to do it for my review of my first Murakami novel and my review for his book, Sputnik Sweetheart. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you enjoyed the view. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.